Hello, hi, Assalamualaikum and good morning to all the participants and panels. My name is Shazwani binti Muhammad Sharif. I'm currently PhD student in UMT Terengganu, and today I would like to share about the preventing soil intrusion in the coastal of Terengganu. So can BRIS soil system helps? Right, so basically in my slide, I will start with the abstract and then I will proceed with the introductions. And then the BRIS soil system, the BRIS regions interspersed with swales, and then we have the saltwater intrusion, effect from the saltwater intrusion, and then the core one is how BRIS prevent all the saltwater intrusion, and lastly with the conclusions. So hopefully with this presentation, all of you can get the basic knowledge about what is the BRIS soil system and how it can prevent or helps about the saltwater intrusions. So basically this paper is about the coastal zones, which is the heavily populated areas around the world. So what will happen when this zone is populated with the more human and with a rapid development, it could lead to the possibly over pumping groundwater. So when this problem happen, so it will lead to the saltwater intrusion. So this saltwater is from the oceans. So in order to prevent this situation from happen or getting worse, so this coastal wetland, which is known as a BRIS soil system, needed are vital in order to maintain or in order to recharge the groundwater. Even though these areas are being neglected and also undervalued for their ecosystem services, however, there are potential of this area to prevent the saltwater intrusion from happen. So, this paper will highlight the potential of BRIS soil system in preventing the saltwater intrusions. Alright, so the beach regions interspersed with swale, or known as a BRIS soil system, can be found in the east coast peninsula Malaysia. So I'm focused on the Terengganu. So in Terengganu, we have about 60,582.61 hectare. So this kind of soil is covered with more than 90% of sands, which means they are unsuitable for farming or any cultivation purposes. So when this happen, people tend to make a conversions of this land. So they convert to the settlement, they convert for the sand mining for its silica and also for the solar panel field. Even though this kind of area is known as a problematic area, BRIS soil is still contribute to the local hydrology regulation, where this BRIS soil ground system provide the fresh water for the local livelihood. And not to forget, this coastal freshwater wetland helps to prevent the saltwater intrusions. However, their ecological function, ecological service of this BRIS soil system is still under investigated. This paper is in line with the Sustainable Development Goals, which are SDG 6, Clean Water and Sanitation, SDG 13, Climate Action, and lastly SDG 15, Life on Land. So this paper aims to highlight the potential of BRIS soil system in preventing the saltwater intrusion along the peninsular Malaysia East Coast. So in peninsular Malaysia, the BRIS soil system can be found in Terengganu, Kelantan, and also in Pahang. This kind of soil is contained of two layers, which are sponosoil and antisoil, and also additional of the spodic layers. So what happened is, during the Holocene era, the sea level have a rise. So this is proven by the notch-like features and presence of the sandy beach ridges. We have additional of the inundation, so cause the coastal zone to be degraded. So as a result, we have the BRIS soil. As I mentioned previously, this kind of soil is known as a problematic soil as it cannot be used for the cultivation due to the more than 90% of its soil contained. So this makes them exposed to the human settlement reside the coastal area, and also it exposed to the climate change. So talking about the climate change, it's about the sea level rise, and also it will shrink the water catchment area. When we have the overpopulated of human, so what will happen is we will extract more fresh groundwater and leave the empty space will be replaced by the salt water. When this happens, then we have the saltwater intrusion. So when this happens, it will decrease the hydraulic gradient. So it will impact the natural balance of the fresh water and also the salt water. So in this, the saltwater intrusion also can be caused by the sea level rising. So when this happens, it also will cause the severe flood, and then it will increase the salt surface water incursions. Other than that, it will cause the high number of the salt in the drink water. So when this happens, it will affect to the human and also the environment. So this will affect to the soil. So basically, it will make the soil to erode. Occurrently, we reduce the soil ability to absorb the rainfall. And also, the effect of the saltwater intrusion, it will make the habitat fragmentation, and then it will lead to the habitat loss. Other than that, it also will make the proliferation of hazardous algae, which will affect the ecological health of the wetland. And then it also will alter the nitrogen mineralization. So this will affect the wetland plant productivity and also the crop plantation. And lastly, it will give the effect to the dissolved organic carbon. So how BRIS can prevent the saltwater intrusion from happen? So in the BRIS soil system, it is dominated by the sand, but it had the presence of the clay and also the sporic layer. So in the sporic layer, it contains the organic matter that come from the leaf litter and also the marine sediment. So in the BRIS soil formations, it had the fine sea and also sediments, and addition with the spore also that contain other austin. So with the clay texture, it made the structure become crumpled and fluffy. So when we have the sandy dominated soil, so any excessive rain and high temperature can be leaching into and also infiltrate into the soil. So as BRIS system is contained of the silty clay layers, it's lie under the BRIS shore ridges system. So this layer, it act as a upper confining layer. So the function of this layer is to divide the dominant sand layer from the sand layer below. The silty clay sediment, it have the poor hydraulic conductivity. So this is the restricting layer. Whereas the sand sediment, it have the higher hydraulic conductivity. So this make the ridges, it have the excessive drainage, which contain of the silty clay layer as a confining layer. So this layer, it can avoid the exchange of the groundwater from the upper sand layer with the lower sand layer. So what will happen is saltwater intrusion, yes, it can be actively occur in the shore ridges, but it can be limited in the beach ridges area. So in the transition area, yes, it contain all the brackish water, but this area is not permanent, means that it can fluctuate. And lastly, the volume of the fresh groundwater should be sufficient enough. This one in order to avoid the mixing with the salt water. So and this BRIS soil system can retain the flood water, so it also can serve as a groundwater recharge. As a conclusion, This BRIS soil system helps in prevent the saltwater intrusion as it contains unconfined and confined fresh groundwater. So this area need to be extensively monitored. So as salinity can give direct and indirect impact to the other ecosystem services. So this area should be conserved to safeguard their ecological services. So thank you very much for lending me your ears. So hopefully you get the basic knowledge of the BRIS soil system and how they can prevent the saltwater intrusion in the coastal area. So thank you very much. Assalamualaikum.